Hello, adventurers. This is Jonathan from the Explora team. I want to take a moment to show you guys the core box for the Sands of Shurax. We're going to take a look at the expansion box in another video. And finally, we're going to take a look at the hero chest as well, which we're all very excited about. Let's dive into the fun stuff, shall we? So this is the Sands of Shurax Core box. I'm going to do an unboxing video for you. So we're going to take a look at everything that this box has, and it's going to be a lot of fun to get through. So before we get started, I opened this up just to kind of take a look at the contents inside, obviously, but I haven't actually punched anything out yet. So we're gonna kind of take it slow and go through it together. So here is the Sands of Shurax Core box. This is volume 3. And this is actually pretty heavy, just about as heavy as our first game, the Valley of the Dead King. It does have a few less placards in it than that one, but it is still quite heavy. So let's open this guy up here. Okay, so what we're going to see first is the poster that comes with this document here. And this is just a nice wall poster for you guys to have on your wall. This just shows the Ravager, and then obviously it has the backside as well that kind of shows a little bit of a teaser for our 4th game in the series, the Domain of Mirza Noctis. Okay, so what do we find in here first of all? So we're going to take a look. We have a tray. Now, in previous Explore It games, the tray has actually gone all the way to the side of the box here. In this one, you can see is actually just a little inset. So there's a smaller tray, and then underneath it, you have all of this stuff that kind of goes in there. So let's take a look. First of all, on the side, we have our storybook, and then this just like our previous volumes has a number of really interesting narratives for you to kind of read through, and certain things that happen kind of throughout the game. So it also has some really nice images of the bad guys that you might be going up against, and some narratives and story-based documentation surrounding them. It has an amazing fold-up map that allows you to kind of take a look at all of the different locations in the game world. Let's see if that actually, yep. So the focus is kind of weird on my camera, but you can kind of see there that the storybook is a really fun thing to have for your game. Okay, so we have a couple of miniatures. First one is a Reaper miniature, which is the Ravager of Shurax. And then this also comes with a custom base that we created. This is not a Reaper miniature, and this actually is built to basically just kind of click right in. Let's see if this holds here. Sure enough. So it clicks in, and it doesn't even take any glue. You can use that as your base for your Ravager. And of course you can paint these. That's a lot of fun to do. So, so that is your Ravager and base. You obviously have the markers in here. And then we have the race cards and the Caravan Master cards. So let's take a look. These might be shuffled in incorrect order here just based on how they do their press sheets. So let's just get these kind of put back into order here. It looks like they're pretty much consistent, one for one. All right, so now we have our races and our Caravan Masters. Now the Caravan Masters, they're something new. They are a new type or card to interact with in the Sands of Shurax. You will be basically using Caravan Masters to initiate a caravan journey to cross a huge swath of desert. So you would be gaining bonuses, and you're going to be encountering a bunch of different experiences with these folks. So each one is different, and you'll have a great time kind of getting to know which ones are good and which ones are bad. And of course, you'll have a good time kind of playing through that. Now, each of the races, again, these are all interchangeable for other Hexplore volumes, so you can certainly use any of the other roles and races that you might have already purchased or grabbed in another box. So I'm going to put this over here. All right, what else do we have? We have a Playstyles booklet. So this Playstyles booklet is going to give you a little bit of information on how to play different styles in this game. All of the Hexplore games are very much individualized. I guess what I mean by that is you can certainly play any way you want with this game. There are so many different ways to play. And this just gives you kind of an idea on how to do that. And it also shows you how to play the dual games. So that is when you combine the Sands of Shurax with Valley, or combine the Sands of Shurax with Forest of Adramon. And each one comes with, you know, a couple of pages of rule augmentations. And some of the fun things that we added in this is that, let's see if I can find one. That there are additional things that you can have happen that are kind of a good mix between the two. So, for instance, in a Valley and Sands of Shurax dual game, you can treat the Cryovern and Zim the Phoenix. These are two basically spirit opponents, bosses, very high level bosses. You can treat them as the same location. They're interchangeable with one another. So that means if you're facing the Cryovern, you can basically choose to face either the Cryovern or Zim the Phoenix. Let's see, ruins. So ruined villages on the map, they are treated as ruins. Basically the ruins that you might find in the Valley of the Dead King. The ruined villages icon that you find on the map in Sands of Shurax are treated as ruin locations that you can interact with in Valley. So, like I said before, there's just a huge amount of interesting little tidbits in here that basically merge the two games together to create one bigger one. In fact, in the dual game versus Forest of Adramon versus the Sands of Shurax, you actually have a bunch of other things that you can do too. So, for instance, the city-state of Nemzanyet, you can actually search for gear using the search for gear rules that you find in the Forest of Adramon, because this is just this wrecked city. So you can actually go and like search for gear. So that's kind of our rule booklet here for the double games, so the dual games. And of course, both of the bosses are at work, basically trying to destroy the group in each of these two dual game versions. So that we have there. Let's take a look at what else we have. We have our rule book here. And all of these booklets, except for the storybook, those are online. So you will find the Playstyles book and the rule book as well on our website at hexplore.com. So you can kind of read up on these rules in advance. You can refer back to it online for any questions you might have. But so we should be good with all your booklets here. Put that aside. All right, so what else do we have in this box? We have 5 different card decks. So let's take a look at them. We have a mission deck, and each one comes with a tuck box, which is really handy. And they are all wrapped so that you can easily get them out, and they stay nice during our shipping process. So, and one thing to note, our mission deck, it does say that there are 4 decks inside of this. You shuffle each separately. So this is just a little note saying, hey, There are 4 different types of cards in this deck. Don't shuffle the whole deck all together because sometimes that's hard for us to remember if you don't play for a while. All right, we have our Circumstance deck, and the Circumstances you'll also find, just like our other cards, are nicely wrapped. You're going to have a ton of different fun things to experience as you play the game. And then we have everyone's favorite, our Power Up deck, and this deck is basically used to basically power level. Get your character, your heroes nice and leveled up, and that's a fun thing to experience. Then we have 2 small decks. Now this is smaller cards that you would not necessarily see yet in Hexplorer products. So this is a new size. And these are the mutations that you might gain. Mutations are super fun because they augment your hero in a multitude of different ways. So for the instance, this one on the bottom, it says extra eye. You've grown a new eye. Anytime you succeed on Explore roll during the skill phase, reveal the top card from any non-villain deck. You may choose to rearrange or place any of the revealed cards on the bottom of the deck. Each copy you possess allows you to reveal 1 additional card. So the more of the mutations you get, they do stack, the abilities stack. So you could have extra arm like 4 times, and then you're basically doing a bunch of extra combat damage, and or I think it's using items, something like that. You have a ton of different options at your disposal. Last but not least, in our card decks are our caravan events. Now these are the types of events that are going to happen when you are experiencing a caravan event. A caravan, when you're in a caravan journey crossing the desert. And so there's a bunch of little cards here that you can experience. And this one just says mission location. You're moving through a desert mission location. Choose a desert mission in play. You may bribe the caravan master to remain here while you attempt to complete it. Bribery is a new mechanic in this game. So we do give certain roles bribery specialization, and in the rulebook you'll actually find our previous roles that we wanted to include in this bribery mechanic. So for instance, if you're playing Scoundrel from Volume 1, you may find in the rulebook that the Scoundrel does have bribery specialization. So all right, so let's take a look at the rest of the stuff in here. So these are all of our placards. And so on the top here, we're seeing the scarabs. This is when you're playing our gambling game, metagame. On the back of that, you have our bazaar. So that is basically all of the items that you might find as you're going into the city-states. You have an arena placard, and this placard will be used when you are in the gladiatory arenas, and you will be doing little combats and basically rolling on this table here to see what happens. You're going to basically be able to gain fame and some fortune, hopefully. And if you get high enough in the fame levels here, you can become immune to imprisonment. So becoming imprisoned in this game is possible. So it does help you if you're legendary, people know you, they're not going to imprison you. There's no way we're going to touch that guy. Okay, so then we have certain additional placards. We have one for each of the 4 city-states. And so that is 2 city-state placards. Let's see if I can get it right on screen here. We have 4 city-states: Nemzinet, Dria, Ferrora, and Tari. And there are certain special things that happen to your group in each of these 4 city-states. Now, your heroes may not experience all 4 in one game. These are locations that are meant to be, you may get there, you may not. And there's some really interesting things that happen. You can go into the gladiator arenas, you can play scarabs, you can do schooling and sparring. Basically, that's going to help you increase your gear upgrades. And of course, there's a special thing that happens in each of the 4 city-states. So you might go to Ferrora and find that they reward folks and heroes who will bring them knowledge. So the whole idea with Ferrora is the more things you experience in the game, you will be gaining extra power-ups when you return to Ferrora. So you do a couple of missions, you fight some encounters, you might experience some nature events or even fight some bosses. You will get rewarded just for playing the game when you return to Ferrora. And of course, each of these 4 locations are tied to a win scenario in the game. So if you're looking to subdue the Ravager, then you may be looking at a different win scenario, and that might align with another location. For instance, Ferrora, they don't want to kill this creature. This is a mythic, titanic creature. They want you to basically try and save it. So there are certain ways you can play this game and in different ways and win in different ways. So that's the city-state placards. Then, of course, we have the all of our bosses, and these are double-sided as well. So we have 1 and 2, 3 and 4. There, I believe we go up to 9. And then 10th is obviously the Ravager. Now, on the back of the 9th boss, because this is our first game where we have 2 placards for the Ravager. Because he is a titanic creature, he's actually doing a lot more to you each game turn than a normal boss would. So you're basically going to be using 2 placards to run the end combat with the Ravager. And on the back of that, you have your game turn sequence for easy reference. So on the back, I started to say it here. On the back of the 9th boss, you have your mutation card. Now this is for opponent mutations. If you remember the deck of cards that we have for mutations, those are for heroes only. This is a mutation card that will change combat with the opponents you may face. If they gain a mutation, they gain something special, and they're augmented in a certain way during combat. All right, so that's our bosses. Okay, and then we have, last but not least, we have our awesome roles in this game. The Dervish. Let's take a look at the artwork here. The Dervish, the Assassin, the Whipmaster, the Defilist, the Scion, and that is a role that specializes in mutations, so you can have some interesting playthroughs with him. This would be our Gambler, our Templar, our Merchant, and the Merchant is actually our first role that we've introduced in the game that allows the Merchant to actually leave the party. So your Merchant hero kind of specializes in a different way. You are going to be focused on basically funding your heroes who are going out into the desert. Now that's not to say you can't join them. You can certainly join them and play the game with the group the entire time. But you're going to get the ability to set up your own shops and basically gather a bunch of gold along the way. And in our Playstyles book, I will mention that we have written a play style that allows any player to leave the group and to split up if that's kind of how you want to play. The Gladiator, the Commander. Now the Commander is a role just like the Beastmaster in our first game, where the Beastmaster specializes in creature encounters. The commander specializes in humanoid encounters. So you actually, instead of gathering a pack, you are gathering an armada. Okay, then we have the artificer. And this is a role that specializes in gear upgrades and basically creating and equipping the group with gear upgrades. And last but not least, we have our battle mat, and this is going to help you do a bunch of different things in combat. And on the back side of this is your conditions cheat sheet. That gives you kind of an idea as to what the conditions are in the game. So those are our placards. A lot to get through there. All right, so then the next thing we have in the box here is a bunch of dice. Everybody likes the dice. Okay, so we're going to put that down. We have a few bags. Let's see, it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4 bags possibly in here. I haven't opened this one up. All right, and then we have the rest of our 2 miniatures in the bottom, and these are also Reaper miniatures. We've given you guys 2 different miniatures in this game because I mentioned that the merchant can actually leave the group. We wanted to give you everything in this box that you needed to play the game. So you have 2 miniatures. One is the group miniature, and then one, of course, is the little guy for your merchant. So you can have those guys to play. Now, just like in the Force of Agumon, you're going to find all your punch boards at the bottom of this box. So don't freak out if you don't find them right away. They are here in glorious detail. And I will just kind of tip it to pull it out. Okay, I'll get this out of the way. And here are the placards for, not the placards, the punch boards to play the game. And you'll find a number of Ravager tokens here. These are basically crystal deposits. When the Ravager comes up from the ground, you place these on the board. You're going to find all of the really kind of fun, interesting locations on the map to interact with. Let's put that down here. And then you're going to find the bars that go across the top and the bottom. Now, one thing we did different in the Sands of Shurax that is new, we actually made the bars double-sided. So what you'll notice is on one of the sides, you're going to find a small icon that looks kind of like a puzzle piece. This basically indicates that that is the side to use with the extenders that come with this game. We found that sometimes we wanted a larger waist area. That's the area that's in the center of the map, and that consists of all of the hex tiles, the hot tiles, which are basically the desert tiles. They're the smaller pieces. So in order to create a larger waist area, we put in a secondary piece to the bars that extend the bar out a little bit. So let's take a look at those. Okay. Yep, it's over here. Move it over here. All right, and there we have it. So you have your extender piece right here, and that would just go in between these two. And there's one for each side. And then on the back, it does show you how to use it and what to do with it. So that is our core box. I hope you guys are excited. I am excited to announce that we are shipping despite some delays, factory delays, and because of the coronavirus. But we are now shipping, and everything is looking good. So look for the next video. Let me see if I can change this here. There we go. So thank you for taking a look today at this box, the core box. And I'm going to get on the next video to show you the other stuff. Have a great day.